this is arguably the match of the day. One more spot from Europe to advance to the World Championships. It's either Gale Force or Flipside Tactics. It's time to go over to the match in the commentary desk with Shogun and Findable Carpet.
The battle of the European Colossus, Flipside Tactics versus Gale Force eSports. We all know the stories. Flipside only just making it to the Season 3 LAN by the narrowest of narrow margins. Have they pushed their luck too far? Gale Force would like to say yes. But you saw just a second ago on the desk, the only one that seemed confident in their pick was Axeltos, who went all the way. So I want to get your opinions on this one, Carpet, because this has got, especially after what we saw from Flipside last season, where it was as close as it was, this has got a feeling of anticipation from this matchup.
I mean, from what I've seen all season, Flipside seem to be kind of in their weaker state right now. Probably one of the weakest I've seen them in some time. Just a lot of uncharacteristic moves from them. Cooks here really not seeming to be in the form that he usually is. It could be stress. It could be, you know, people are just catching up. Right? I mean, the gap's been closing. I'm going to, for this series, throw everything I've seen in the season out the window. There's no point. Because at this point, these players aren't thinking about the season. They're thinking about this match. That's all they care about. They're thinking about performing as a team, their individual skill, not messing up, and just trying to win. This is it for both of them. So I don't think they're worried about, well, who beat who in the season? They could care less. So I'm going to do the same as them. I'm going to throw that all out the window, and I'm just going to watch from Game 1 to Game 2, see how these teams are performing, and see what they need to fix. And I think that's just going to be it. I don't know which team is going to show up, because Gale Force also had a very underwhelming performance. They came in being called the best team in the world. And now here they are fighting for a spot at LAN. So they didn't perform up to their standard either. It's, I don't want to say it a billion times we've said it, but it really depends on if they're able to. I think at this point it's, can they just deal with this pressure?
Absolutely. Well, the good thing that we do have here is that both these rosters are incredibly experienced, and that's something that kind of works against Flipside. Last season when we saw them take that massive comeback win, it was against a team with less experience, the current Method squad, as they were just sort of getting into the scene and really getting their opportunities to come up more and more. And we've seen how they've progressed this season. But this time around, they're taking on Gale Force, a team that has got people that have been in the World Championship finals along with them, heck, even facing each other at times. This is going to come down to just both teams going for it. Whoever can keep their nerve is going to be probably the team that takes it and the one that can adapt more to the other team's strategies.
Do you feel like we're going to see them play passive? Or
what do I feel nervous, mate. This is...
I think everyone is.
Everyone feels nervous ahead of this game.
Going on.
I
haven't felt this much emotion in a long time.
I know. It's a hard one to call, definitely, here. This has been a case of... It's hard for us to analyze, because I agree with you. It's going to be nothing for us to say, really, in terms of how we expect them to play until we see them play. Because we don't know what to expect. We don't know what Flipside's been up to. I can only assume that they've taken the hint and actually grinded throughout the whole week. But Gale Force is a consistent, and they've been consistent all the time. They've been winning weekly tournaments. They've been playing in every weekly tournament they can get their hands on. They've been winning them, taking 4-2 wins over Method, other top teams like that, and they look consistent. I said in a slight argument with Gibbs, I believe it was, that I still believe that Gale Force is the best team in the world, and that 7 out of 10 times that they would win against these top teams, but this might not be one of those 7 times.
I don't want to make a prediction, but I do want to watch James and Gibbs eat a shoe.
Yes.
Each of them. So
that would be almost as entertaining as what I expect the series to be.
Can I just agree that I want to see a shoe eating, but not particularly say that I want a team to win? That's my stance on this.
Apparently. Let's get ourselves into this, however. The final spot for Europe will be contested between Flipside Tactics and Gale Force eSports to raise the banner for Europe. As Marky Duda is going to take early possession. And Flipside Tactics will take the first opportunity at offense. A miss off the boost, though, will leave Mystic in a bad position. Still Cooks here, levers the shot at net. And Flipside Tactics making a statement to start off.
Quick decision-making from Cooks here to take this shot. Turbo thinking he may have had a touch on that, but just underneath. Violent Panda and K-Dop and net left trying to play a reactive touch there, but unable to make the save. They are down 1 goal within the first 30 seconds.
Be interesting to see how these two teams go about this series. Whether or not it's going to be end-to-end gameplay, or if we're going to see both of them fight for those midfield areas. I expect it's going to be this latter. in this one. Neither team will want to give up that much boost or pace or possession to their opposing side. So expect that to happen. Mystic does make a mistake and an opportunity given over to Turbopulsar, but Mystic can come in to save that. And not only that, but pull it over to the other end of the pitch. Well recovered there by Mystic.
And I think that they need to make sure not to rely too much on individual skill and work as a team, just because when you...
Well, you did speak about individual skill, but there is a man that has got almost more of it than anybody else in the world. Cooksy97 picking up the brace just over a minute into the game.
I mean, it's a team play to himself. I'll count that, right? He passed it to himself. That's technically a team play.
He is a one-man team, Cooksy, as anyone that has played with him will tell you. Cooksy now going to play that straight over to K-Dop, who has got time to play into the corner. Didn't get a teammate close enough to it, and FLIPSID Tactics are in control in game number 1, taking themselves an early 2-goal lead, and it will be up to Gale Force to respond to that. A miss there from Cooksy will force Marky Dudar to come in for the save. And now Cooks can go to the other end of the pitch looking for that hat-trick. What a quick hat-trick that would be. Still prodding away though. FLIPSID Tactics just have to focus on not making mistakes. They've in a perfect position to take game number 1 as K-Dop's going to push it to the corner, but Mystic has got the position set. Turbopulsar, after a great pass from K-Dop, just got himself shut down quickly by Cooks there, who is stepping up in this first game. And if you're a FLIPSID Tactics fan, heck, if you're a FLIPSID Tactics player, knowing that Cooks is playing well in game 1 is the best thing you can see.
Confidence has seemed to be his weakness all season, but Violent Panda unable to get behind that ball, following just a bit too close on that shadow play.
And I don't know if it was a placebo, as we can see another shot. Here's Mystic picking up his first goal of the series. It is just these almost long, not even necessarily long shots, but they're getting space for these shots and they are making it work.
And they're not letting them kill it in the corner and buy time. K-Dop wanting to slow it down, but with the contest there, it pinched right back out into the corner, giving an angle for a shot. And since the goalie couldn't be there to close it, again, on that defensive, that retreating defense is very difficult to make sure that you're going to be in a good position.
Yeah, we were talking about Cooks here as he's going to come towards this. Just seems to have been at a new level ever since the changes to the Batmobile came through. Don't know if that's a placebo or if it's a genuine thing that is helping him out. Either way.
Yeah, either way, he needed the confidence.
You're not going to argue with the results he's had so far. As the man previously talked about, is going to go for the ball, pushing it into the corner. Currently FLIPSID Tactics thoroughly in control of this match. Violent Panda had an opportunity to bring Gale Force at least one step closer, however, and you see Cooks with another long clear, recognizing Violent Panda was on the halfway line. We just waste more and more time as 2 minutes 15 seconds remain. Marky now in the corner. FLIPSID seem to be contesting absolutely everything they can. No real space being handed over to Gale Force eSports. Which is going to suck for them because they do like to go for those passing plays, and if they can't get the space to pull them out, then it's going to be ever so difficult. Pass over to the middle. Here's Marky. Couldn't quite make contact. But still for Gale Force, they're trapped in their own end, finally going to escape. Unable to put forward any real period of time of offense. Still in the corner. Cooks does get beaten. Marky Dudar being chased down by Violent Panda, and he does get the pounce. Still no real offensive chances, though, for GFE. Every time they move forward, it is being challenged. Marky Dudar with another whiff. Here's Turbopulsar, his opportunity. K-Dop was rotating in late. Not even he expected Marky Dudar to make that whiff. Just trying to work this out of the corner, but it's a little bit too predictable right now from GFE.
I think GFE was expecting a sleepy FLIPSID, which you tend to see in the first game of most of their series. Cooks here seem to have mastered that pinch, and Marky Dudar just barely stealing that, but also misdirecting it, letting the defender know that he's still a threat, could be there.
The direction of this at all. There is like nothing on that.
Just barely. It was enough. It was enough to still force that defender to think about it. Even if Marky hadn't touched it or had touched it, the defender had to then worry about that option. Where was Marky going to put it? And it was just enough to give them a 4-goal lead. I imagine Gale Force are just kind of chalking this one up as a loss, being a little bit slow in this first game, and I think underestimating FLIPSID, to be honest.
Weird. Any other team comes into the promotion or the regional championships at a 2-5 record, you usually write them off. FLIPSID Tactics seem to just have another gear that they switch into when it counts. And as you said when we came over here, that we can take the whole season for face value, but this really is a different level that we are currently playing at with different stakes.
And I think the biggest problem is FLIPSID, their kryptonite tends to be when they are winning. They seem to do better when they're losing. So hopefully they can keep this up. We've seen them take a lot of victories from being down, but we've also seen them, kind of lose a lot of victories when it looks like they were in a really great spot. So, best of 7, a lot of games ahead of them. One game definitely will not seal this series.
Absolutely not. Plenty of work left to do. However, it is a step in the right direction. Game number 1 will head over to FLIPSID Tactics. It looks to try and get one more goal. It will be difficult to do, but almost done. Not quite, though. FLIPSID Tactics. That is one step in the right direction.
I mean, not even just if you're a FLIPSID fan. If you're just a fan of Rocket League and watching top-notch stuff, this is the FLIPSID you wanted to see going into this series. Just look at the shot difference. 6 more shots for FLIPSID Tactics, and all 6 of those from Cooksier alone. He really seems to be in form. I know that confidence seems to really be his falter sometimes. He'll go into a series and just be super quiet. And it seems like every time he'll approach a ball, I'll have a little bit of hesitation. He'll be a little bit more scared every time he makes one more miss. And he's like, oh no, the next one I might miss too. So opening up in the first game with 2 goals to his name, 6 shots, and really seeming to control the pitch almost single-handedly, getting that solo pass play to himself. I really think this is a great spot for FLIPSID to start in. Could make Axeltoss look like an absolute genius, which is a little scary. And
that
also,
would be terrifying.
There will be some shoe eating if we get to the perfect scenario.
That would not be terrifying. That would be hilarious.
That'd be pretty great. But that means we have to go into Game 7 overtime, 3.5 minutes.
Okay, I will risk
will
the potential heart problems that I would have in that scenario for the shoe eating.
Yeah, it's worth it, man.
It's 100% worth it. I'm not going to say no to any of that.
But Shogun, what do you got? What are you thinking about FLIPSID right now against Gale Force? Did Gale Force seem extra quiet to you, or did FLIPSID just seem to be that much better than them?
I think for Gale Force right now, it's a case of it all starts from the kickoff. Right now, every time the kickoff is happening, we're seeing FLIPSID get control of both the middle boosts very quickly. And it means that every single time Gale Force are trying to play it, not only are they currently low on boost, but they're low on space, because FLIPSID are using that not necessarily to pull themselves back and have more opportunities, but they're using that boost to get right in their faces, not going anywhere. And they're creating opportunities from that. Remember, we were saying it yesterday, you can create opportunities either A, by a lovely pass, or B, a challenge that just goes your way perfectly.
And you notice that when FLIPSID has so many uncontested touches in their box, in Gale Force's box, I should say. So when they were on offense, there were a lot of good passes that were like not even that far from net, but they couldn't get contested because of lack of boost. And I think another thing that's it's a little difficult to talk about, it's a bit more ethereal, is the kind of pitch reset. So when your team is struggling for boost and you get a hard clear, it's so that you can reset, so you can gather enough boost, get yourself spread out into the right position, and then you can now approach the next play with full confidence, with your full skill, and with enough boost. But if you put enough pressure, that reset never happens. It's a little bit harder to point that out, especially because you're not going to be able to see like everyone's boost at the same time. But you'll notice when a team starts to get more and more cramped in a net is generally when that reset hasn't happened and they're really struggling to get enough boost and enough control.
So game number 2, and for Gale Force, we're going to be looking to see what exactly they're going to change coming into this game. They need to start challenging the midfield a lot more, giving a lot of space over to FLIPSID Tactics, who have definitely got players that can take advantage of open space and loose balls. It's going to be a good start though. K-Dop, get the set. Very difficult to rotate straight in though off the kickoff. Violent Panda takes his time just a little bit too much. Now Marky Dudar is breaking down to the other end.
We saw Cooksier bump into the post, and then I think Marky, trying to help him out, bumped into the other post. They're both just trying to defend each other. You know, don't make fun of my friend.
I think that was just like a confidence thing. Like, Cooks, no, we can all do that.
Watch, we can still win.
K-Dop straight over to Violent Panda. Getting the ball in the air will be crucial for Gale Force, because I do believe that they are the stronger team up in the air. There is going to be Violent Panda showing off some of that aerial prowess that the team does have. Now K-Dop putting the pressure on. Not going to go away just yet. Pass straight out to Turbo Pulsar. It was coming in from an awkward angle, so could never quite get that past the defender, but still Gale Force taking the early advantages. And this is what we wanted to see from them, starting to shut down FLIPSID Tactics and not giving them space to breathe.
I'm with you, though. It feels like Gale Force is really relying on the corner plays, which generally is just...
Oh, you talk about corner plays. K-Dop will find the upper corner with that shot, opening goal to Gale Force.
There you go, off the backboard. Mystic unable to get a hard clear, and Cooksier following underneath him. A little bit of mishap there, both dedicated to it. Cooksier did stay grounded, but it seemed like he made that choice just a little bit too late. Pulled himself out of net, and a nice slam shot from K-Dop. 2 shots, 1 in net. They'll be up 1 after just a minute. I
absolutely love that from the defense as well. They both went up. They almost created a perfect right angle using their cars, so it was a goal within a goal. Gale Force with their perfect start in this game. Went down by so much in the previous one and just couldn't recover. Get a goal so early will suit them. Marky Dudar looking to try and get Cooks here, who has got off the backboard. There will be no follow-up, however. Mystic is not anywhere near back. Then Kadar with an absolutely lethal shot.
If I go to Mystic's perspective, I want to know, he saw Kate up there, but I don't think he was expecting anything. He only had 28 boost, so him getting there for the bounce was possible, but not with Kate up shot, and those are the quick executions. Being consistent in that is what makes you such a threat, because the counterattacks, a lot of times we watch them fall just short because they can't get a shot up that fast, but Kate up will almost always succeed.
As a very defensive player myself, I can tell you that when you see that, those shots are called a whole lot of note. You are not getting to that, and they might not be able to get to that shot either, but Marky Dudar just pushing to the side and now clears it to the other end of the pitch. He'll be taken out of play for the time being. Cook's setting that up for Mystic with the half volley down to the other end. Flipside Tactics now almost complete role reversal from the previous game. Gale Force up in control by a comfortable margin, and Flipside Tactics have got to do the work to break through the defense. Fun and Panda. Not a great touch from him. Turbo Pulsar can't cover him though, as Mystic tries to chase him down. Too much boost though to go for the demo. Cooks took that one away from Marky. A miscommunication now from Flipside might open this up for a third goal. Cooks here, however, plays it away, and he's not going to do anything about that one. The shot was not quite on target. Still, Flipside Tactics. We saw just what they're capable of when they're playing good in the previous game, and now we're getting glimpses of what happens when it doesn't go right.
A little bit to ramp up in that first game. Again, we saw Flipside having most, if not all, the control. A lot of it in the hands of Cooks here. But now we're seeing Gale Force really start to ramp up, start to contest a lot more. They're pulling it out of that corner, as you said, kind of was a weakness in game one. They were relying too much on the corner, which was getting cleared out by Flipside. But I think now that they've noticed that they're dealing with a Flipside that feels confident and prepared, they're going to have to get a little bit more creative on their attacks.
Cooks taking out the gameplay by Violent Panda. Immediately challenged though by Marky. You can't afford to take too much time dribbling in a standard game. Immediately taken out. Turbo Pulsar looking for the backboard. Mystic does end up missing the follow-up. Not going to be there from K-Dub, as he was shut down by Marky Dudar, who looks to go to the other end of the pitch. Flipside actually waiting for every single ball to come towards them. I'm not too sure what their plan is. Normally when we see a hit, there's always the hope of trying to chase it right straight down, but Flipside Tactics not going for that. Still a lot of balls being played straight over to Gale Force, and that is going to be Violent Panda one-on-one against Marky Dudar. He does end up getting something, but Mystic with the clear away. Right now, Flipside Tactics playing a lot of defense, playing almost as if they are winning with some of these defensive plays and the clears, but they're not. They've got work to do, and they need to keep control of the ball.
I mean, Flipside has only taken a single shot on net.
Oh, K-Dub will be credited with that one after the shot straight into the body from Violent Panda, and Gale Force go from comfortable to just absolutely relaxed.
I mean, that will be their 7th shot. Mystic only having 9 boosts by the time that goal went in. That is going to be their 7th shot to only 1 from Flipside. So they've had absolute dominance this entire game. With only a minute left, it's going to be quite a hill for Flipside.
And we were talking about in between the games just how much Gale Force need to move themselves forward and start challenging a lot more. I expected them to have to do a bit. It seems like Flipside are just giving them the opportunities to move into their half right now. Gotta make it a little bit harder for them as Turbo Pulsar takes the shot. 50 seconds remaining. Still a 3-goal deficit in game number 2. A match that if Gale Force do win, they will tie up the series 1 game apiece. Another long clear. K-Dub gets it towards the middle. Shot from Cooks here. Marky wants to make this difficult. He almost looked for the pass back to Cooks there, who just couldn't land in time. That will go the entire lane from Turbo Pulsar. Steals a goal, bit of stat padding from him, but either way, Gale Force thoroughly in control.
Yeah, the pass and the attempt there from Flipside was actually really cool, really smart, and I'm glad that their brains are in the mindset and perspective to start making those plays. They were really struggling to get it past the midfield, and the moment they did, they tried to make something out of it. And you know, those short little drops, pulling that defender out by Marky Dudar, but they just weren't set up in a position to take that. They had to get aggressive. 3 goals down, 30 seconds left. What are you to do? You might as well go for it.
Certainly agree. Flipside Tactics at least trying out some of those 1-2 plays that do work out for them ever so well. Especially usually when it is Cooks with the initial clear and they can get it straight back to him. Here's going to be pass up from Turbo Pulsar. Gale Force know that they've got this 1-1. At this point, they're just looking for more and more goals, and to put the statement forward to Flipside Tactics, just going, okay, we're here to play 2 boys. Convincing victories for both squads, and we will be all tied up.
1 game to 1 game. And this is, if there's ever a series to make sure you never fall complacent, this is the one. You need to make sure that every single game, you're making sure that you're consistent as an individual, that you're looking for your team, and you're really trying to outplay your opponents. You can see the shot spread there, only 3 for FLIPSID and 11 for Gale Force. And just that alone really tells the tale of just this game alone. But we saw in game 1, FLIPSID had complete dominance. So, as I suspected, there's no point in predicting, because this is going to be on a game-to-game basis. It really will just be which team can make sure that they're figuring out their opponents, can make sure that they've gotten the right tactic. Do we go for the hard, midfield pressure? Do we just go for quick counterattacks because they keep overcommitting? Those small, quick decision-making, it's really hard to do when there's this much pressure on the line, but they're doing it just, in opposite games.
And we saw this yesterday with Cloud9 and NRG when they took on each other. There was very convincing games both ways. Never really, we had a couple of really close ones, but didn't really happen for a long period of time. And it's that case of if you do end up trading games backward and forward, you can start getting into autopilot a little bit. Just go, okay, well, we expect this one to go to them. You can't afford to do that. You need to come into each and every game just going, this is ours. Because 7 games is a long time.
Yeah.
And to prevent your brain from going into autopilot is very difficult to do. But it is something that they have got to try and keep their minds on.
You wouldn't believe how much just becomes subconscious when you put this many hours into the game. When you're just used to it, your opponent's doing one type of thing, you just assume, well, hey, they're going to keep doing this, and then all of a sudden it gets changed and you're just thrown for a loop.
And when it comes to keeping away from autopilot, Carpet, how do you think that really settles for? Does it settle for a team that is more likes communication, likes to talk to each other, or would it be a team that is a little bit less quiet? As there's going to be a shot from TurboPulsar. He has not been quiet at all this series, taking the opening goal.
In the first 4 seconds, Marky Duda thinking he had control of that, but K-Dop just relentlessly putting pressure on that, getting an amazing contest, dropping it right in front of TurboPulsar. But to answer your question, I'd assume the communication, I think, would be the best to kind of break you out of your own head. To remember that there's 2 more teammates on the pitch. Remember there's more people's brains out there that are trying to think. And when you hear someone else's perspective or hear someone talking about, where they are or what's going on or what they're thinking about, I think it's enough to just kind of get your brain trying to think about new ways to approach the ball.
Backboard, Mystic trying to find a teammate. An opening goal very quickly coming out from Gale Force. FLIPSID Tactics need to avoid what seems to be a trend in this series. Violent Panda will continue to add on to that trend as Gale Force looking confident yet again, same as game 2.
Yeah, marking Cooksier in there, an uncharacteristic miss from Cooksier. I hope he hasn't already lost that confidence he had in game number 1, but he was there first for the ball. He could have had the touch. Even so, he may have been contested, but it may have at least stopped the free shot from the Gale Force player. And now 2 goals up with only 30 seconds into the match.
FLIPSID needs to turn this around and needs to turn it around quick. It's going to be off the backboard. Cooksier gets himself up, taps it straight down, but there will be no follow-up. Couldn't quite the angle he wanted. Now it's going to be an opportunity for Gale Force to break away, just keeping it out of their half if they can. The FLIPSID will try and see a way to that. Mystic with the shot. It wasn't great, but it will be enough. FLIPSID Tactics, it was crucial they got this quick, and they did.
Yeah, that was actually really fast. Mystic turning around, Cooksier immediately following suit on that contest at the 50-50, right at the midline. Once Mystic turned that around, Cooksier was there to support, and as you said, Mystic's shot might not have been great, but it was enough to catch that defender off guard, and now they've made it to just a 1-goal game.
Maki over to Mystic. Mystic takes out K-Dop, goes for the flick up. He's got Maki Duda in support to try and run this one down. But TurboPulsar has read it very well. Cooks with an immediate challenge, though. FLIPSID seem to have laid down their territory. It is that halfway line. You are not allowed to go past it as Cooksier hits the post. Now K-Dop to the other end of the pitch. Hits it a little bit too hard, too early. Mystic was back, but Mystic also didn't make great contact. And TurboPulsar can come in with the rebound.
I need to watch if Marky was getting bumped over. He was trying to retreat. Mystic going for that corner touch. No, Marky was kind of contested by K-Dop, but in reality, K-Dop just had him beat to the ball. He was there to try and make sure it went in, and now another 2-goal spread for Gale Force eSports. 2 goals to TurboPulsar and only 2 shots. He's got quite the shooting percentage right now.
He is lethal in every sense of the word. Violent Panda putting the ball straight up. Maki Duda has to deal with it. FLIPSID unconvincing right now on the defense. They just need to keep it away for the time being until they can figure that out. And for them, that should really be a concern for a different game, because what they need right now is offense and plenty of it. Cooksier looking for the set. This is going to be difficult for Gale Force. Violent Panda has picked himself a boost, and he's been given plenty of time until the inevitable challenge from Maki Duda did come in. Mystic straight over. It's going to be 2 players from Gale Force yet again, clumping together pretty often. Need to avoid that, otherwise there will be the shadowing player from FLIPSID who will come through and inevitably take advantage. Marketula tries to get himself a shot. I don't believe he's really had the best series for himself so far. Needs to start getting himself a little bit louder as Cooksir with a roar and brings FLIPSID back into the match.
FLIPSID's starting to learn that just enough pressure will eventually cause Gale Force to make some kind of mistake. K-Dop trying to chase that out, but I don't think he had enough boost to fully chase that. He was just shy of making contact, leaving an open net, and Cooksir will keep his consistency there and take the shot onto net.
Gale Force will be looking for that second goal yet again. No one can be comfortable in Europe on just a singular goal. Not with 3 minutes remaining, not with 1 minute remaining, heck, not with 0 seconds remaining. Need to try and shut this down, and they need to do it soon. FLIPSID Tactics are currently stalking away. Violent Panda looking for the backboard. Mystic took his time, gets taken out though.
I think it's the first demolition of this match.
It's been a very clean one so far. I'm a little bit surprised by that, but both these teams seem to be happy to play from behind the ball rather than in front of it. Definitely a defensive priority from both teams. K-Dop layers a shot straight into the body of Cooks' car. Now another long clear. Seeing a lot of these from FLIPSID Tactics now to see if they can make it work out. Towards the midfield, Cooks off the backboard. Got an opportunity for the follow-up, doesn't get the best touch. He's going to offer JFE an opportunity to get away, but still Mystic waiting in a perfect position. He's got the pass over to Marketula, puts out a pipe. Going to be the follow-up opportunity for Cooks here, but Turbo Pulsar felt the Grim Reaper behind him and moved the ball out of the way before the shot could come in.
They are not out of the woods just yet. Two of them have boost, one of them a bit struggling right now. So they should be able to get a hard clear, but they need to make sure that they're able to keep pace with FLIPSID right now.
FLIPSID were unrelenting in offense, but now it's going to be 3v0 in the net. Marketula trying to get himself back in time, and he's going to do it! A one-man wrecking crew. Marketula saves FLIPSID Tactics' chances in this game. Now going to take the ball immediately again. They can go the forward pass, but Violent Panda has got it red. 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Violent Panda can still control the ball. K-Dop taking out. Marketula still looking for a touch on Violent Panda, and he did get it. FLIPSID Tactics looking dangerous in this game. Maki with the flick up. Should be easy for GFE to deal with, but it looks like they're a little bit frazzled right now. Cooks here make it dangerous. K-Dop looking for the clear, and he does get solid enough contact. But Mystic, even he's starting to step up right now with these single touches to take out players. There's going to be the shot. Maki once again on defense.
And dodging a demolition as well.
Got eyes in the back of their heads right now, but they need eyes on the goal. Still, one singular goal separating these two teams. Let's just see how offensive the rotation from FLIPSID Tactics is right now. They can get caught out any moment by Gale Force, but I don't think they're too worried about that right now. This could be dangerous off the backboard. Here's Cooks here. But Turbo Pulsar yet again in the perfect position to save his team from almost certain doom. And now Violent Panda can just look to waste as much time as possible. Mystic with the ball on his hood. Got Cookser in the middle, gonna look for him. Both players up, it could roll all the way in. And Cooks here is gonna turn it into the net. 1 second remaining, but overtime is almost assured.
Always able to pull it off last second. Cooks here somehow making contact on that. Turbo falling just short on that save, tying it up with 1 second left. I'm getting a little deja vu there, Shogun.
Absolutely. This entire game, FLIPSID Tactics has been chasing down Gale Force, who have just been that little bit ahead of them. But once we hit the finish line, that is when they catch them. They tie it up, and now it is time for our photo finish. Overtime between these two teams. And it's going to be a big one indeed to leave them 2 games away. Turbo Pulsar, yet again! He is unmovable from the GFE defense. He has kept them in this game.
That alone could have just given them enough time to try and get a counterattack here. Barely saving that from Cooks here. FLIPSID so strong on kickoff strategies.
There is going to be Cooks here. Once again, Violent Panda this time getting it over into the corner. Huge match now between both these teams. So much committed. Violent Panda going to take on Cooks. Just going to get it past though. Here's Turbo. Gets it off the backboard. Mystic, a lovely touch from him. And how difficult would that have been to have played? Cooks. Over to Maki. Maki ends up whiffing. There is nobody in net. And after all the work to come back, Turbo Pulsar, no better man to get a hold of the goal, will secure game number 3 for Gale Force eSports.
They had 2 in net, but Cooksier and Marky both going up, and then Cooksier got bumped by K-Dop on the way out as well. So even if he had stayed grounded, he could have potentially turned around for that. but there it was, a double commit at the very end will end up sealing the deal for FLIPSID. Gale Force will take that win 4-3. Close game, FLIPSID able to pull it out with 1 second left. They're still showing that thing that they do for some weird reason. FLIPSID love being in the most dangerous spot they can possibly put themselves in, but they're still close. It's now only a 1-game series, 2 to Gale Force, 1 to FLIPSID, a 1-goal game in overtime. I'm expecting to see much more out of both of these teams.
And both these teams have got star-studded rosters, but let's be honest, that game was the Cookseer and Turbo Pulsar show.
Yeah.
That was incredible from both teams, putting their squads on their back and just going, here is what we are capable of. Both of those players have been in the running and shouted out as the best player in the world at different points. Cookseer, earlier on in the game's history, definitely back in Season 2, was when a lot of people were looking at, well, back in Season 3, Turbo Pulsar came in and everyone looked at him and just went, you know what? He's not a sub. He might be the world's best. So both these teams have got ridiculously star players on their side. However, there is a major problem right now for FLIPSID.
Yeah.
And it's happened twice for them. And it is a rotational problem between Mystic and Marky. They've been called on that twice now, and it's a problem of Mystic moves forward because they know they want to get their opportunity at offense. They want to try and shut down Gale Force's defense as quickly as possible and try and shut them out from boost. But the main problem is that if Marky whiffs or makes any mistake on the rotation, they're done. They have no one back, and it's happened twice to them now. Either way, game number 4, Gale Force. After an incredibly tight game, we're going to head into this match with the lead in both the series and in this matchup. Early goal from Turbo Pulsar.
This is the second time they've scored within the first 10 seconds of a match, or I guess 20. I'll go with 20 seconds, but right off of kickoff, just having so much control, pulling that defender out. But as you said, the moment that you see any kind of mechanical mistake coming out of FLIPSID, Gale Force is there to punish.
And I can't reiterate enough the similarities we're seeing between this game and Cloud9 versus NRG. Both of them having very one-sided games, both of them always having goals incredibly early in the matchup. It's now going to be up to FLIPSID Tactics to not allow the similarities to continue. They need to stop them right there, and they need to get a goal back very quickly. But it really seems like the opening of these games is becoming FLIPSID's kryptonite as they are struggling to really put their foot down, and they are conceding just too early where they're now spending the rest of the game in defense mode. Fire Panda, the flick up. Turbo can go for the follow-up, but Marky Jidar plays the shot. Gets the clear. It's going to be a difficult play to go for. Turbo Pulsar is going to go for a flight. And Violent Panda now comes in. Turbo Pulsar has now recovered. Move himself into the rotation. Gale Force, we have to play as many long balls as they possibly can. Just looking for a mistake from FLIPSID. Can over-rotate with the best of them. Cookseer going to drop that one straight down. That's not going to be the best touch. Turbo Pulsar can go for the setup off the backboard. Here is the follow-up from Kadoff, and an incredible save from Cookseer is going to keep this from being a 2-goal game.
But unable to get a hard clear, Marky trying to follow up Mystic's touch. And now we'll see Gale Force trying to keep this up. Do not let them reset. Try and starve them as much boost as possible. Only one of them has enough boost to make a lot of saves, and Kadoff will eventually get the final punish into net.
Marky Jidar knows for a fact that he is just way too close to this ball when it comes in at the front post. Needs to be at the back to run on. And that is going to be Kadoff who can just take the shot over the top of him and say, Gale Force are 2 goals up. FLIPSID needs to find a way because Gale Force are starting to settle down now. Turbo Pulsar going to give us a good example of that, picking up his 2nd goal of the game, and even going to give us a little bit of a wiggle on the wall.
You know, usually it was FLIPSID that has a great job of dealing with kickoff tactics and strategies. One of the first teams, actually, I think the first team to break out the fake kickoff strategy. But now they seem to be getting punished kickoff after kickoff by Gale Force. They're so fast, they have no hesitation. They've got confidence in their 3rd man on defense. They pick up the boost, and they get the first few shots off, and FLIPSID just aren't prepared.
3 goals now the difference. 3 minutes now remaining. Plenty of time for FLIPSID Tactics to bring themselves back into the game, but need a complete idea change because they are currently being run roughshod by Gale Force eSports, who just look in so much control in this game in comparison to the last one. There is going to be the 4th goal. Turbo Pulsar picking up his hat trick.
I mean, at this point, there's not much to say. FLIPSID really can't plan much more than one thought ahead. Cooks here needing to get a little bit of a hard hit there to get control with the pace of his car, but then he couldn't follow it up, and there was no one there on the wall to try and be the second touch. They're not able to think one step ahead because Gale Force is playing that much quicker than them right now.
I absolutely love the goal celebration from Turbo Pulsar. We've got the fireworks, not so we can celebrate the goal, but so we can all celebrate him.
The wiggle.
I was celebrating more the fireworks.
True.
Mystic actually puts that one straight into the target area of K-Dot. Gale Force in complete control of this matchup, and they have just not only controlled the matchup, but they have controlled every single boost. Now start to go for some of the styling and profiling shots.
The flip cancel from Turbo.
And see just how difficult it has been for FLIPSID Tactics to even move the ball out from their side. We can see Violent Panda didn't quite get the boost, but you're seeing the pressure that they put on, though. FLIPSID Tactics is desperate just for a single canister of boost.
I mean, look, they're hitting it because they don't have much of a choice at times. They need to get this clear. They want to get a couple of canisters of boost. They need to fill up.
Yeah. I mean, boost is the lifeblood of Rocket League. Without it, you can do absolutely nothing. That's the reason why it can be so heavily prioritized by teams. K-Dot over to Turbo Pulsar. Not going to be able to put that one on net, but instead set himself up off the backboard. I love the backboard shots at times. It just reminds me of the Harlem Globetrotters. It's like, set myself up, set you up, set everyone else up. Okay, now we scored.
Yeah, especially when you see a defender flying as fast as they can towards it and they just miss it. And they have to sit and watch as it bounces away from them and hope that their opponent doesn't strike it in.
Turbo Pulsar will take advantage of the incredible dribble from K-Dot. Minute and 10 remaining. FLIPSID Tactics got all the work to do. It would have been a miracle if they brought it back from here. Marquis just can't quite get control. He's going to have an opportunity to follow it up, but the shot going off the side of his car will not be powerful enough. So a minute remaining. For FLIPSID Tactics, this is going to be their opportunity to talk to each other about what they want to change heading into our next matchup, because this is now becoming a little bit of a recurring trend for them. They are conceding way too early in the matches. Just not how they want to play.
I mean, just look at how often their defensive touches go straight into the hands of Gale Force. And the Gale Force, as a team that has a lot of control and skill, are trying to touch it towards each other.
Well, it's a problem in itself, which comes with the strategy of whenever you spend a long period of time, as we're going to see the ball go all the way in for yet another goal. There is goal number 5, Turbo Pulsar with his 4th.
Probably a marquee poo goal, a patented poo goal.
Yeah, but throw him across the field. So,
Yeah.
oh, actually, no, you know what? That's a poo goal.
Yeah.
That's definitely a poo goal. I was looking at Violent Panda's touch. The problem that comes, and this is what's happening to FLIPSID Tactics a lot here, is that when you are forced in defense for a long period of time, you do end up having 3 players back. Now, the good side to that is, yes, you've got multiple choices for defensive touches. The bad choice is you've got no choices to get the ball away because you're low on boost. You've got no one in the midfield to really aim at, so you've got 2 options. You either go for a dribble or you go for a clear. Both of them are going to get challenged. There's Violent Panda going to pick himself up a goal. A 6-goal rout of FLIPSID Tactics. Gale Force. Last one wasn't convincing. This one certainly was.
Yeah, Mystic approaching that ball. At this point, they know it's a lost cause. You're not going to score 7 goals in 7 seconds. And then we all want to have faith in FLIPSID's comeback skills, but I don't think this is on the threshold of what anyone's really capable of. So we will see Gale Force put themselves at match point. Put themselves at LAN. Remember, this is a best of 7 to see which team is going to qualify for the LAN in Washington, D.C. for the final spot in Europe.
Now, I don't want to be that guy, but I am 100% going to be that guy right now.
What?
Tell me if this one sounds familiar to you, Randall Carpet. FLIPSID Tactics in the qualifier match for the World Championships. Coming into it, 3 games to 1 down with all the work to do. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, I still haven't recovered from that match, actually.
You're getting a...
Yeah, the one against Resident?
Getting some, deja vu from that one.
That is hands down probably one of the best matches I've ever witnessed, been able to cast, had the honor of watching. As crushing as it was for their opponents, they are back, and now they're at LAN. So I guess they've proved their worth. Now it's FLIPSID's turn. They were able to do it last season. They were able to do it from so far down. They were looking in such a bad spot. And we heard it mentioned at the desk, as much as we've mentioned the storyline, and as much as it's drilled into everyone's heads and no one cares anymore.
It was that good, though.
They perform when their backs are against the wall. That is one of their strengths, which is so many other teams' weaknesses. Once they're under pressure, they usually start to crumble.
Now, for Gale Force, however, they'll be looking at this and just going, shut up.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear about this anymore. We're about to crush them in 4-1, and we will see if they can do that. If they play like this, all the drama is going to be just completely liquidated in this matchup, because that was a thrashing.
Yeah, if there was a way for me to see the percentage and who had control and which half it was in, that was in Flipside's half, probably 70, 80% of that match.
Absolutely.
They really just couldn't clear it out. And you were talking about it. If you were all clumped up on defense, all three of you are on defense, even if you have boost and you want to pull it out, go for a dribble, you've just lost 80 out of your 100 boost. If you want to go for a clear, you're going to have to chase that down, which is all your boost as well. And no one's there to kind of help protect it. No one's there to protect that pass and try and keep it in your opponent's half. So you're going to have to follow that. Chances are you won't get the next touch, and Gale Force will, and they're already starting to get positioned for a counterattack. So it's so difficult for them. Gale Force kept a lot of control. Now it's up to Flipside to try and come out with something strong in this game.
Is it going to be Gale Force's time? They are 1 game away from knocking out previous world champions and kings of clutch. They would love to see it done, and this is going to be the opening minute to find out. It's going to be crucial as well, considering how many opening goals we've had within that minute. Makijura will be caught out in no man's land. Every single Flipside player stuck in their own half. This is going to be an opportunity to see what they've got. Cooks over to Mystic. Mystic looking for a way back. They managed to play out very well, Flipside. Coming towards the end of the opening minute. Marky, he's got options over to the side. He will look for Cooks here, and he has found him. Gale Force not making any mistakes, though, and also not only that, but they're making such great clears that they can immediately turn it into offense. Cooks it by himself against Violent Panda. He does win, but it's straight back over to Turbo Pulsar, who now is controlling the midfield. Gale Force want to put a vice-like grip on the boost and on possession.
Marky, couldn't get there in time. Turbo will beat him to that ball.
Beat the ball up, Makijura. Not the best save ever, and Cooks will have to come and bait him out, but he doesn't get contact, and K-Dot, 1 goal, 1 step. And it's going to be 1 game needed.
From a bad save to a worse save, Flipside Tactics not off to a great start when they need it now more than ever. K-Dop able to secure it after a double defensive mistake on Flipside's side.
Yeah, you're fine for that. I'm not even going to apologize for you. That just happens. Some of these team names. Cooks looking for the clear. Got plenty of time to work around this, but every single time Flipside has gone down by 1 goal. Quite often they've gone back down by 2 soon after. Cooks here, try to get up, couldn't quite get a strong enough block, and now Violent Panda can try to go for the control. Flipside, I think they've recognized this. They are controlling, they're trying to challenge everything in the midfield, but still, Gale Force is faster.
They have no room to breathe, and even there, Makijura in a great position for cherry pick, but Turbo Pulsar again is going to stifle out that play, find himself in between them. They know they have to contest everything, but they still, it feels like they're 1 step ahead, but then Gale Force is always going to be there to contest anyways.
K-Dop's taking out Mystic, he looks for the follow-up, and there's going to be Cooks here with the save. Still opportunities to continue. Violent Panda does win yet again every single time the ball is contested in the middle. Gale Force is coming out heads. Flipside looking to rotate around. Turbo Pulsar, great control from him, but even better challenge there from Cooks here. Mystic also around. Bit weird the Flipside were putting so many players in the corner, but it did end up working out, at least for a short period of time. There is going to be a bad save from Cooks here, and this time they're able to clean up. But on defense, Flipside Tactics still shaky. Marky now, playing that straight back over. Not enough control on the ball right now for Flipside Tactics. Unable to really pull out much. Mystic can't get the shot. He's going to get it though, just off the post. He had to slow down for the shot because it was played almost behind him, and that didn't allow him to get as much of a lethal contact as he originally wanted. And Flipside Tactics can't level the game. Marky looking for Cooks. They're going for more and more passing plays on Flipside. And they've been given more space to go for it. We'll find a way through now as every single player on Gale Force has been pretty well positioned so far, not making any major mistakes. Turbo, who's got Violent Panda around. He will just back down from that touch. K-Dop forced to play defensively. A long clear from Turbo Pulsar. A minute and 30 seconds remaining now. Flipside Tactics have got to find something.
What do you think will help them clear it out of their half? I feel like they're doing a lot of hard clears and having to chase, and then you'll see now Mystic and Cooks here low on boost, needing to try and clear that ball. Marky with a last attempt, but now they're going to lose all control because they have to retreat.
It's going to come entirely down to timing. With the current amount of boost they have an opportunity for 1 wave of offense. Here's going to be the follow-up from K-Dop. That could have been the goal to finish this off. But because of the lack of boost they have, they're having only one opportunity to go for a wave of offense. The only way that will change is if they can get lucky in terms of, okay, we've gone for a wave of offense, and now suddenly the 2 middle boosts have suddenly spawned for us. If that doesn't happen, Flipside Tactics can't do any more than one attack. Ball now up, Marky Dudar, he's going to follow, puts it straight down, but the shot not good enough, put straight into the middle of the path for Turboposa, who can deliver it back down to the other end of the pitch. 35 seconds remaining, Cooks here wants to get it clear. There's Marky Dudar with the follow-up, it's on target, Vilepeda with the save. Opportunities for follows, but Turboposa will be by far the first player onto the ball. Now 25 seconds remaining, Gale Force are on the verge of qualifying for the World Championships. Got one more roll of the dice. Mystic plays into the corner. There is no one over there for him. Marky Dudar has to try and get a block. He has done so. Still opportunities for Flipside Tactics. K-Up looking for a clear. Mystic doesn't win. This is going to be so difficult for them to work out now. K-Up into the corner. He needs Marky Dudar to play this really well. Not going to happen though. Gale Force are going to take out Flipside Tactics. They are going to Washington, D.C. and they will be our final team representing Europe.
And a lot of dominant as well. We're having a lot of dominance. 4 games to 1 in this series, really just showcasing how fast they can be, bringing out that Gale Force that we expected to see at the very beginning of the season. Flipside Tactics, I saw people in some threads saying, like, what is a World Series without Cooksy or Marky Dudar?
We're going to find out.
This will be the first one. We will not see them. It is a shame to see them go. Flipside Tactics, they seem to be at a little bit of a fault throughout the season, and now they will pay the price of needing to qualify for the LAN yet again. They weren't able to pull it out in this last series. They had such a tough opponent as well. Not a very easy path for them. They will go down, and Gale Force will qualify for the last spot of LAN.
Method, PSG, Mocket, and Gale Force. Those will be the 4 teams representing Europe, and as the token European, I gotta say, that is a strong lineup we've got going.
It really is, and they were really able to just show us everything that they're capable of, whether it be the solo plays, the passing plays, and just their utter speed. Every time it seemed like Flipside was starting to gain control, doesn't matter. Gale Force was still there to contest everything. When Flipside wanted to ramp that up, like, well, let's contest everything too. They were losing on all the 50-50s because Gale Force was still getting there just that fraction of a second earlier so that they could make the decision on where that ball was going. So they are definitely going to be a huge force for the rest of the day and moving into LAN against the rest of their European friends and all the North American teams.
Absolutely, still plenty of games left to play. We now know who's going through, but we still don't know who will be leading the charge for Europe, so we've still got the rest of the tournament still to play. But for Flipside Tactics, it was one miracle too many, and Gale Force shut this one down to a sweet science. In order to break that one down, we're going to hand this straight over to the desk.
Congratulations to Gale Force eSports, your final team from the European region to qualify for the World Championships, doing it in style. Flipside took it to them at first, winning the first game, but ultimately Gale Force showing their dominance. Let's take another look in the form of the Mobile One high-performance replay. As I don't think there's any doubt as this series went along, this team is incredible. You guys were saying it before the series began. Gale Force definitely deserving their spot in the World Championships.
But that game 1, James, you can never have too many cooks. And he showed such amazing plays for basically a finale of his season. It really looked like he put the team on his back, but it only lasted 1 game, and he couldn't do that for the rest of the 4. That game 3, though, I was telling Gale Force, you can't have a 1-goal lead. And then Mystic makes a great aerial dribble with 2 seconds left, but then a wide open net. Turbo scores it, and at that point, you felt like it was over.
And that was from a marquee miss, and that was what we were talking about before. Like, they had the lead, they tie it up, but then giving it up.
That game 3, that was really the turning point of the series, the critical moment that this could have been so different, but that loss, that was just seemed to be the end of Flipside. They got shut out in back-to-back games after that, getting outscored 7-0. They were shut out 3 out of the 5 games. So really just a tough showing for them. I thought they were whiffing the ball more than I've ever seen them whiff on both defense and offense. Inaccuracy. Cooks, he had that amazing game 1, but then everything just seemed to fall apart for Flipside. So this is going to be the first time we won't see them at the World Championship, but Gale Force, they earned this one. They had a good season. They only lost to PSG and Method, 2 of the top-ranked teams in the region, and they're looking very, very strong today.
And I got to say, Turbo in particular from that series, from just the ridiculous saves to goals. It just seemed like he was all over the field. It felt like there was a moment where Turbo was just like, you know what? I'm the only world champion, ex-world champion that's still eligible to actually make it to the World Championships. And I feel like a lot of that series came down to Turbo and his phenomenal defense and just being all over the field.
Yeah, he was a brick wall, and that's when Gale Force, when they first came out, it was just Turbo playing insane defense, and then just let K-Dub and Valiant Panda do the offense. But Turbo was also on the offensive side as well, doing crazy things over there. So if he keeps that up, I don't think anyone's going to beat them today. Like if Turbo's playing that well,
he scored more goals himself than FLIPSID did in all of those games.
Exactly. So
and then K-Dop played very well. I thought Violent Panda's touches were really solid. So they had that rough game one, but then every other game afterwards they were just solid.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Gale Force, honestly, I think an amazing series overall. I do think a lot of it came down to that game 3. We're tied 1-1. It could go either way. Cooks here ties it up. Markey whiffs, and then Turbo makes the goal at the end. But sometimes it comes down to just those very particular moments in Rocket League. FLIPSID is their season is done for this season. However, you will see them in RLCS next season. Congrats to Gale Force once again qualifying for the World Championships and advancing to the next round of this tournament. We're going to take a short break from twitch.tv/Rocket League. Coming up next, we're moving on to the semi-final. We're going to see Method come to the arena, and they're facing off against Mocket, who's looking super hot after that win against Excel. Stay tuned.